Back in the summer of 2016, I landed my first job at 18 years old. I was thrilled about the work, but not so much about the commute. Without traffic, it was a 30-minute drive each way. I usually got off work around midnight, and the last thing I wanted to do after a long shift was make that drive home. During my first few weeks, I was adjusting to my new routine. My mom had given me one critical piece of advice: keep an eye on your gas tank. If you need to fill up, do it on your way to work, not on the way back. She had every reason to worry. I was a petite 18-year-old who looked even younger. But being a typical teenager, I ignored her advice. One night, on my way home, I noticed my gas light was on. I didn't have enough to make it to my exit. I pulled into the first gas station I could find. One of those dimly lit, sketchy places where you immediately regret stopping. I decided to make it quick. I swiped my card, pumped $10 worth of gas, and printed the receipt. I thought the worst part of my night was over. I was wrong. Just as I reached for my car door, a voice crackled over the pump's intercom. "Ma'am, there's an issue with your payment." I froze and glanced toward the window. The gas station clerk was staring directly at me. He was tall and gaunt, with a hollow face that instantly put me on edge. His eyes didn't waver. He gestured for me to come inside. I pressed the intercom button. "What's wrong with my card? I have my receipt. It went through fine." His voice came back too quickly, too eager. "Your receipt is incorrect. You need to come inside so I can run your card again." I looked back at him through the window. Something about his expression made my skin crawl. There was no way I was going in there, alone with him. I pulled out my phone and checked my banking app. Sure enough, the charge had gone through. I held my phone up as if he could see it and shouted, "It's on my statement. I'm not coming inside." His tone shifted, more forceful now. "If you leave, I'll call the police. I have your tag number." I wasn't having it. "Over $10 of gas? Go ahead. Call the cops." I yelled across the parking lot, flipping him off. I turned to get back in my car, but something stopped me. The clerk was still at the window, frantically mouthing something. His face had changed. It wasn't creepy anymore. It was desperate. I squinted, trying to make out what he was saying. That's when he slammed a piece of paper against the glass. Written in shaky letters were 4 words: "Guy in your car." My heart stopped. I bolted toward the station, and the clerk unlocked the door just long enough for me to get inside before locking it again. "Get down!" he hissed, his eyes locked on my car. I crouched behind the counter as he pulled out a gun. Together, we watched the security monitors. That's when I saw him. A tall man in sweatpants and a windbreaker, slipping out of my back seat. He'd been hiding there the whole time. The man nudged the door shut and jogged off into the night. I was shaking. The clerk explained what had happened. He'd noticed the guy lurking by the side of the building on the security cameras. As soon as I pulled in, the man made a beeline for my car. He crouched down, opened the back door, and slid inside while I was swiping my card, careful not to close the door all the way so I wouldn't hear him. The clerk called the cops as soon as he realized what was happening. They arrived within minutes but couldn't find the man. He was gone, and there was nothing in the car to lead back to him. To this day, I can't stop thinking about what could have happened if I'd driven off with him in my back seat. The clerk saved my life that night. Here's the lesson. It's not enough to be cautious. You have to stay alert. Always check your surroundings, trust your instincts, and most importantly, listen to your mom.